Welcome to this micro explainer. Today, we're going to unpack a super brief but honestly incredibly deep idea about communication. It comes from a quick video by TipTrack. You know, we usually just think of communication as, well, talking. But when you really zoom in on the frameworks used by mega successful leaders, it's actually this brilliant blueprint for high-level entrepreneurial strategy. So let's dive right in and see how just a handful of simple words can totally flip your perspective on business and global negotiation.
We're anchoring our whole journey today on this really bold central idea straight from Jack Ma. Language is so important. And what's fascinating here is that he frames this specifically for the entrepreneur. He's not just tossing out general life advice, he's giving hard-hitting business advice. He's making it crystal clear that for today's entrepreneur, navigating those tricky international markets means language absolutely isn't just some nice-to-have soft skill you slap on a resume. No way. It is a vital, absolute necessity. It's literally the bedrock that successful cross-border empires are built on.
Now, the entire weight of this concept really hangs on one specific phrase, when you learn the other language. I really want to isolate this because it shines a spotlight on the active, deliberate effort you have to make to bridge cultural and business gaps. Notice he doesn't say when you speak it, right? He says when you learn. And learning, well, that requires stepping completely out of your comfort zone. It forces you to admit that, hey, there's a whole other framework out there, a different culture, a totally different way of valuing things sitting right across the negotiating table from you. It's a super proactive step toward actually localizing your business.
And the immediate reward for taking that proactive step? A massive, undeniable drop in friction. Just look at the direct cause and effect here. It's easy for you to communicate. You connect the action of learning with this amazing result, and suddenly, boom, the barriers just melt away. When you put in the work to learn, you're essentially paving a perfectly smooth road for your ideas to travel on. You are definitely not fighting that uphill battle against cultural misunderstandings or weird assumptions anymore. Business communication just naturally transforms into this effortless exchange of value.
So Jack Ma's words actually lay out a very clear step-by-step progression. We go from the hard work of language acquisition straight to the ultimate goal, which is absolute clarity. It really goes to show that seamless communication doesn't just happen by accident. It is entirely engineered. You move from that initial kind of clunky phase of adapting to a new culture all the way through to a state of total mutual understanding. When you break it down like this, it's obvious that global leaders don't just stumble their way into great partnerships. They build them, step by step, using this exact sequence.
Let's drill down a bit deeper into that final step. We're dealing with a really crucial duality here, being easy to understand versus and be understood. Real, effective business communication is always a perfectly balanced equation of input and output. It is absolutely not a monologue. You've got to balance both sides of this scale if you want to survive, let alone thrive, in a high-stakes environment. If you lean too hard on one side and totally ignore the other, well, that's exactly how deals fall apart and trust gets broken.
If we focus entirely on the first half of this duality, the input side, it really highlights the incredible power of strategic empathy. Easy to understand. When you learn their language, you aren't just sitting there decoding vocabulary words. You are unlocking the ability to truly grasp market nuances and figure out exactly what your partner intends with zero friction. You give yourself the superpower to absorb the real desires and even the hesitations of the person sitting across from you. You're not just hearing what they're asking for, you actually understand why they are asking for it. And that is huge.
But hey, comprehension is only half the battle, right? The output side is just as critical, and be understood. Language gives you the power to make sure your entrepreneurial vision, your specific strategies, and your value proposition are planted into their mind with absolute pinpoint precision, no awkward translation errors. You've done the listening, you've used that strategic empathy, and now, because you're operating inside their linguistic and cultural world, your intent matches what they receive perfectly. Your big ideas land exactly the way you designed them to. Which brings us to the ultimate takeaway for today. Think about it. In your own communications, are you focusing more on understanding others, or are you just trying to make sure you are understood? I want to challenge you to take this dual framework and apply it to your own life and your business right now. Honestly, it's pretty rare to be perfectly balanced. A lot of the time, we're just so incredibly eager to pitch our own ideas that we completely forget the active effort it takes to understand the other side. So take a second today to really reflect on your own negotiation strategy. Where is your imbalance? And what other language do you need to start learning today to fix